And so she and I developed this curriculum based on science, based on behavioral science and neuropsychology. So everything we talk about this week is really geared to behavior change. So I want you to be able to put something into practice this week. All of our tips and all of the challenges are super actionable and super, super practical, right? And they shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes a day, because I know, who's got time for anything anymore. And same thing with these coaching calls. I'm going to try and keep them to around 5 minutes so that you can duck in and duck out. No problem if you have to go to work or if you've got family stuff happening. If you want to hang around for longer and ask questions, you can do that. But the chunk, the bulk of what you'll need to learn from these calls will be imparted to you within the first 5 minutes. So thanks again for joining me. So let's kick off today's challenge, right? So today is all about asking the goosebumps question, right? And most of you will have already received the email with the challenge for you for today. If you haven't, pop a note in the comments and I will get it to you ASAP. But basically today is all about reaching out to someone, right? Sending someone a text, someone who you love, trust, and respect, right? And I want you to send them a text and I want you to say to them, hey, I'm doing this career challenge. I'd love to know, what do you think is my one best quality? Right? So you're probably going to feel a bit awkward and maybe not be super happy about the fact that I'm asking you to send this random text, but I'll tell you why it matters, right? And this is a big part of the reason behind the PepTalkHer app as well. The things that we focus on are the things that get strengthened from a synapse perspective in our brain, right? So just if I wanted to get massive muscles at the gym, I would have to do these ones every day. Nothing's going to happen after day 1. Nothing's going to happen after day 2. But if I do this a lot every week, every month, every year, before you know it, my muscles will be bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And it's the same thing when we're training our mind from a mindset perspective, right? And this week is all about knowing your worth, because if you know your worth, it's a lot easier for you to communicate that to your boss or to a future employer or a recruiter, right? So the purpose of this text is to help break the spiral that a lot of us end up in. And let me know in the chat if you've experienced this, right? You're probably very good at your career or you wouldn't be here, right? You're all high achievers. I know that. You've all got big aspirations for your career, but sometimes we get into a funk, right? And sometimes we spiral in the wrong direction. Maybe we've had a toxic boss. Maybe we're returning from parental leave and we just, don't feel like we're in our zone as much as we used to be. Maybe, you've got stuff happening in your family life and you're just not feeling as confident about your abilities in your career as you did previously. So what we want to do is try and stop that spiral, and we want to refocus your brain towards something more positive. And the fact is that all of you have excellent qualities, right? That you bring to your friends, to your teams, to your workplace. And I want you to send this text to someone and ask them what your best qualities are. And I want you to focus on that. I don't want you to focus on the fact that you missed a deadline. I don't want you to focus on that one piece of negative feedback you received last month. I want you to focus on this positive feedback, right? That's what I want you to be focusing on this week. And the purpose of sending this text is really to be a bit of a circuit breaker, right? To sort of take you out of the hustle bustle of every day and just to focus and say, wow, John from marketing says that I've got amazing emotional intelligence. Or Sally from the finance team really appreciated how I supported their team last week with that acquisition deal. Whatever the case may be, that's what I want you to be focusing on. If you've already sent your text, let me know in the chat how you felt when you received it. I had dozens of messages overnight after the email went out saying, it was a nice warm and fuzzy feeling, pretty good way to start the week. And the other thing you can do as well is screenshot that piece of feedback that you received. If you want, you can make it the screensaver on the back of your phone. You can, just keep a hold of that. And when you're having a bad day, when you're having one of those moments at work, you can just reflect on that text and use that, as I say, to help strengthen that neural pathway that we're really trying to focus on this week. If you're already using the PepTalkHer app, you can upload it there. If you're not, don't worry. We'll talk about that later in the week. But let me know as well in the chat if you have any questions about why this matters. Welcome. We've got someone from Stockholm here. Hello. Great to see you as well. So I want to also just give a shout out to people who had a message that they received this morning as well. This is what I want you to hold on to this week at work. If you're feeling so inclined, feel free to send that text to more than one person. Go ahead, send it to 3 or 4 people if you like the response that you received. Once I was doing this exercise with a corporate client and I texted my brother so that I would participate in the activity, and he sent me back a bit of a joke. So maybe if you've got a brother who thinks they're a bit of a comedian, don't text them, but text someone else. You might want to text a boss, your work BFF, something like that, So that is all you have to do, is send one text to someone asking them what are your best qualities. That's all I want you to do. Let me know how you go in the Facebook group. If you're not on Facebook, that's okay. Just reply to the email and let me know. There are points for today's challenge as well. We are together for 5 days this week, and then we've got 2 finale sessions after that as well to help support you through this career coaching process all week. So basically how it works is every day when you complete the challenge, you get a point. If you join the live call, like we've got almost 100 people here today, you get a point. So our team will be tallying up all of those points at the end of the week of the 5-day challenge. We have prizes to give away, including a scholarship to our 8-week coaching program, which I run live twice a year. So, definitely worthwhile showing up, keeping all those points, making sure that you keep on top of the challenge so that we can really support you throughout the week. If you've got specific career questions, pop them in the chat so that I can address those for you as well. And yes, Gabrielle is making a great point in the chat, create a legend file. So you might want to have this in your email inbox, on your Google Drive. Again, if you're using the PepTalkHer app, that's the reason we built it, so that you can keep track of those successes. But the point of this file is to keep track of positive feedback. So when you send this text, you can keep a track of all those great responses. When you get positive feedback from a colleague, a client, your boss, you can keep track of all of that positive feedback. When you run an event or you have a big deal at work that happens, if you're a teacher, if you have a wonderful, a wonderful session with your class, take a photo, keep a record of that. And the reason that we do this is our brains are super busy, right? We've got a lot going on. And as I said in today's email, I couldn't tell you what I had for dinner last Tuesday. Couldn't tell you. I could barely tell you what I had for lunch 2 days ago, right? Because we've got a lot going on and our brains can only remember so much. And let me know in the chat, can you remember the success you had at work in March? Can you remember the biggest thing that happened to you at work in March? Can you remember the biggest thing that happened to you at work in July? That's like a couple of months ago now. It's really hard to remember all these things, right? Because, we've got families, we've got friends, we've got work, we've got Netflix shows to catch up on. There's a lot happening, right? So the reason that this matters though, if you go into your performance review or if you go in and ask for a pay raise and you don't have the data to hand of how you did make an impact, how you did contribute to the team, it's very hard then for your boss to go, oh, that's right. Yeah, Claire did do that. Oh, that's right. Joanne was very impressive. Oh yeah, Angel did have that great, quarter. I'd forgotten about that. You have to be the one who comes to them and brings them these data points, who brings them the items from your legend file to remind them why you're so impressive, why you're invaluable to the team, and why, in fact, you do deserve that pay raise or that promotion that you're looking for. Right. So we're gonna build on this throughout the week and talk more and more about it. But this is the reason why it's really important that you proactively keep a track of your successes and don't forget the awesome things that you've done in your career, right? So today is about kickstarting this process, jumping out of any negative spirals that you might be on and really focusing on the amazing things that you do bring to your team and to your colleagues. And that's the only thing you have to do today. So keep an eye out in your inbox. Later today, you're going to get the information for the challenge day 2. If you've got questions, you can pop them in the Facebook group. You can pop them in the chat here as well. And we will come to them as soon as we can. Someone calls it a brag file. Yes, that's absolutely right, Gladine. Keeping a track of all of those brags that you don't want to forget about. Okay, so someone's asking a question here specifically about how do you deal with hiring managers talking to HR about whether they can get an exception for increases in pay. We're going to talk a little bit more about this tomorrow, but basically when it comes to your pay and salary, you've got to be your own advocate, right? And you've got to be doing your own PR kind of, right? Because if you're not doing your PR at work, who's doing it for you? And the reality is HR, recruiters, your boss, they've got other direct reports, right? Or they've got other colleagues that they're working with, So you've got to be the one who keeps front of mind for them all the value that you're bringing to the business. And we're going to talk a little bit more tomorrow about how you can exactly quantify that. So yes, if you've got a pay raise coming up this week, make sure that you're tracking all of your successes. You can also go back through your calendar. If you keep it in your cell phone like I do, or your written calendar, go back through and just make a note of any impressive things that you had in your calendar that that will sort of trigger your memory for the impact that had on the business. And you want to kind of pull all of that dossier of achievements together so that you can present that as evidence as to why, in fact, you do deserve and do need to get that pay raise and that increase. But we'll talk about this a little bit more in detail tomorrow too. Someone's also asking, what do you do if you're not feeling super fulfilled right now, right? I know there's a lot of you, thank you for your emails to let me know that you're kind of, you're just not loving your career. It's not 10 out of 10 right now. If that's how you're feeling, you can also use today's text phone a friend exercise to actually reach out to a couple of people, right? Almost like a board of advisors. So if you're feeling a bit meh about work right now, I would suggest texting 3 people. 3 people in your life who kind of know you pretty well, preferably at least one person who you've worked with in the past, who you can trust. Just send them a text and send them a similar text to what we're doing today, right? What would you say are my best qualities? And you could also get more specific and you can say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about a career change down the track. Where would you see me in my career in a dream world in 5 years from now? What would you see as the perfect career or the perfect role for me? And let's crowdsource it, right? Like, let's get input from 3 people in your life who you trust and respect, and let's see what they have to say. It's not to say that you need to live your life on other people's terms, but sometimes other people see things about us and about our value and about our zone of genius that we can't actually see ourselves because we live and breathe it every day. So let's get some input from other people to see what they say about you and your value in your career. And I would love to hear from you the responses that you get through as well. If you've had a performance review, thank you for these questions coming through. They're coming in thick and fast. If you've had a review recently and you didn't get the rise that you were looking for, that's okay. All of these steps that we're doing this week are actually going to build you up for success going forward. I had another question come through about what if your company doesn't have a super structured performance review cycle? You can actually put in place that performance review cycle yourself. So if you've got a boss who's a bit, all over the place or doesn't give you regular feedback points, you can actually proactively send them a calendar invite and say, hey, listen, I'm just going to go ahead and send a recurring quarterly invitation for us to have a 15-minute chat just to check in on how I'm going and where you think I can improve. Right? Like, get on the front foot of your career and start to really control that narrative with your boss, asking for that feedback, getting that point of view from them so that you can iterate. Maybe you need to improve. Maybe there's things they're really happy with. And all of that forms data that you can then take in as like your receipts when you have that performance review conversation, when you have that next pay conversation. So I'm going to keep that there. I'm going to stop that there because I know everyone's got to get back to work. Keep the questions coming though. Send them to me in the Facebook group and we're going to answer as many of those as we can this week. All you have to do today is send that text. That's it. One text. You can go above and beyond and send a few if you want, but that's all you need to do today is send a text and ask someone what they think your best quality is. That's it. That's day 1 of the Know Your Worth Challenge. We're going to build on this throughout the rest of the week. Keep me posted in the Facebook group or via email with how you're going. And we will be tallying all the points so that we can make sure that we award those prizes at the end of the week as well. And it's a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you for joining. I am excited for 2023 to be the most successful year of your careers yet. And we're going to be working towards that $10,000 pay increase by the end of the year. That's really the point of this challenge. That's what I want you to be that's what I want you to be working towards. So if you've got questions, just hit reply to the email, message me in the Facebook group, and we will be back the same time tomorrow. We're going to be meeting at the same time for 5 to 15 minutes every day this week. And I'm going to keep answering all of those questions. And I'm excited to get to know you all better. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you at the same time tomorrow. Thanks, Olivia. Thanks, Anjum, Carolina, Irina, Izzy, Sheila. Thank you. Bye.